Hi, YouTuber. Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, any place in the world and any time you may be tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. Okay, so if you want to know more about me, you can see my other videos where I talk about myself and my work specifically. I hope wherever in the world I do find you, whatever is on your plate, that, you can take this moment to just be in the moment and to receive anything that resonates and that may help you on your journey, on this life journey we're all on. Today I'm going to be reading from my book, Back to Love. I will read the introduction as well as the first chapter. Like I said, for more information on my book and my work and where to purchase, there's other videos, though I say now that you can purchase it at Amazon, Book Depository, where else, Waterstones, quite a number of places, but usually my go-to place is Amazon. So just to say a little bit, I experienced adverse childhood experiences and other experiences as an adult that shaped me. And, my book is about my, recovery from that, as well as how I went about, creating the life experience that I wanted and needed, as well as creating the dreams, the life I imagined as a child, knowing that the life I was experiencing then wasn't, quite right for me. So I share all this in my book. So here we go. Maybe this will be a good time before I start reading to go have a break, grab a drink and come back. And please remember to like this channel. And if you buy the book, to review. And if you feel the book and there's people you feel this story will help, to share. Very much appreciated. Okay, here we go. Back to Love. Introduction. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Frederick Douglass. This book, Back to Love, was born first out of a desire to share a journey and second, to tell a story. The story is one of an abused and abandoned child, and the things that can be done in the dark to such a child, casting a menacing shadow across the child's life when grown, oftentimes for generations to come, if the healing remains undone. In the telling of this story, my story, the unhealed baton finishes with me, which also makes Back to Love a book about the process of change and its particular twists and turns. It is a self-transformation life story about the not altogether straightforward cycle of change and the coming into being of a more whole and integrated self. This book was a very difficult book to write. The bearing of one's heart and soul and tortures and loves in such an open and now public way took me right out of myself, stretching me beyond all measure on every level. I don't know if I'd call the writing of this book a therapeutic endeavour, but it was certainly an endeavour to be a true, clear and no-nonsense voice for the most vulnerable in society that I'd gladly do again and again, however much it hurts. I don't just speak for the needs of today's children. I speak especially for all the wounded, denied, and abandoned children that still exist within countless adults the world over. I write in service to them as well as to the child within myself. It is my hope that in doing so, we as a society will come to listen more and better respond to children's particular and unique needs and wants. Least those cries turns into screams of blue murder, the kind we see and read about on the news and in the papers daily. It could also be said that when I speak of the child within, as well as without, I'm essentially speaking about the spirit of that first innocent essence, the loving protection, cultivation, and bringing forth of which creates emotionally mature, wholesome human beings. Contrary to popular belief, we are not so much in and of ourselves human beings, but rather it's the case that with the right kind of love, encouragement, modeling, and engagement, we grow into that particular skin. We need each other and are bound to each other for our very survival as a species, moving towards an evolution that is benevolent and has no end. This book spans 23 years and tells of the initial and subtle stirrings of change, the definite decision to change, the process of change, and what all that came to entail for me. The reason it is called Back to Love is because it has been written for those who, like my past self, do not know, due to early, out-of-shaping, traumatic experiences, that they themselves are the very love they seek. Back to Love also talks about the journey from outside in to inside out, and then back round, and then back around the cycle again. This book has been written with heart for the love of all who have soul. This book has also been written for the everyday, ordinary people, and for you. Wherever my story finds you, real life just happened. Let's go again. Wherever my story finds you on this journey called life, it is my hope that through reading about my own process of change and my return to my most true self, that you may realize your own true capacity, and in so doing, bring to resolution all obstructions that lay within, in front, and behind of you. As you embark upon this journey, may we, as Henry David Thoreau urged, move more confidently in the directions of your dreams and dare to live the life imagined. Amongst other things, I'm a British-born black woman of African Caribbean descent who refused to be statistic and dare to live the life I imagined growing up, knowing in my heart that life was out there for the taking. May our missing voice in the historical, academic, and research records be heard clearly and undeniably here within these pages. May we continue to rise up out of our personal and collective wreckage of traumatized, presenting past lives, and like the phoenix, continue homeward bound to the places, spaces, and lives to which we most belong. I write in service to you all and hope that in the sharing of this harrowing and absolutely worthwhile heroine's journey, your heart and soul receive the nourishment and encouragement that it needs to embark upon a similar corner-turning journey, if that is your wish. Or if your journey has already begun, to continue on with more self-confidence and embodied empowerment. As the above quote says, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Yes, it is easier, but it's not impossible to turn our lives around and drive it in a direction more of your choosing, as my story bears testimony to. I am here and my life purpose is to share the good news that with self-love, all things are indeed possible. Therein lays the intro to my book, Back to Love. And I'll just read a tiny bit of the first chapter. Okay, the book is out there for you to continue the reading afterwards. But I'll probably pop on here and read bits from the book in future. So, book 1, The Beginning of Ends. Chapter 1. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lozu. The decision to have a child changed my life forever. The year was 1982 and I was 17 and a half years old. I could have done much better in school the previous year, but looking back, circumstances didn't really allow it. The only lesson I really enjoyed was sociology, as it was the only subject that seemed relevant to real life, the only subject that attempted to decipher and understand it, a thing that was very important to me. When I left school that summer with my 1 O-level, I was not at all sure what I wanted to do in regards to a career. None of the adults around me at this time were available to actively explore that side of things with me, and so it was more or less left up to me and the school to decide what my future would look like. During the summer break, I half-heartedly decided to enroll in a 2-year community studies course. I thought that a course in the caring professions would suit me best, especially if it involved working with children. I loved taking care of children. To begin with, the course did hold my attention. The college was newly built, and I enjoyed the experience of being part of a new endeavour in a new group. I also enjoyed the new relationship that was to be had with teachers, more equal, friendly, and respectful. And I really liked the course tutor, Layla. She was warm, cuddly, and motherly. I also liked the fact that being at college was entirely my own affair, which gave me a sense of freedom that I enjoyed. However, at times that freedom, that responsibility brought with it a foreboding cloud of uncertainty and feelings of insecurity, especially about the future. Where would the future lead me? Would it take me to very difficult places like my past had? These fears, which were more unconscious at the time, scared and overwhelmed me, so much so that by the end of the first year my enthusiasm began to wane, bringing with it a loss of concentration, and not too long afterwards, absolute boredom. It was an old, familiar, angst-filled boredom and resultant disassociation born out of extreme dissatisfaction that often saw me falling asleep during lessons. I quite enjoyed those little naps, though it was of great embarrassment to me when Layla pulled me up on it. She was concerned that I wasn't enjoying the course anymore and wondered if there was something else that would better hold my attention. But as bored as I was and as lost as I felt at times, there wasn't really any other place during the day where I felt relatively safe and could comfortably be, let alone peacefully fall asleep. So I tried my hardest not to sleep in class, but it continued to be a struggle. The only subject that kept my full attention were those to do with childcare and development. It was during these lessons that certain ideas began to come to mind, and I guess started to better fill the uncomfortable spaces of my time. Those thoughts pertained to the desire to become a mother and have a child, all of my own. In hardly any time at all, I found myself acting on those ideas, an endeavour I gave body, mind and soul to, and one which brought with it renewed hope and anticipated joy. The idea that I could have a child to love and to love me in return made me feel so totally happy and gave a new lease to what felt and seemed at the time to a life going nowhere, slow. Essentially, I made the decision alone, since alone I often was. I had been with my boyfriend, Ronald, for about 5 months. He was my first true obsessive love. I was besotted with him, but also painfully aware that he was not meeting my needs or wants for that matter. I was aware that the relationship wasn't at all secure, which only served to intensify the need, my need at the time, for something more. I leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed, and so far I've gotten something from this reading of my book, Back to Love. Like I said, you can check out my other videos for more information about me and my work. For now, you can look at me and my work on my website, which is innersideout.net. That's all one word, innersideout.net, where you'll also find my other business links and more about my book and my work. Thank you so much for listening, for taking the time. If you've liked what you've heard, please like, comment, share, and, never give up on yourself. We're all called here. We're all being given special invite here on this planet Earth, which belongs to no one. We come, we find it, we go, we leave it. But whilst we're here, we're not just here to survive, we're here to thrive and live our best life experience possible. Good speed on your journeys. Bye for now.